Hey, I'm Al McGee here at YETicket.com. Wow, and I just saw this documentary called Iron Family. And guess who I have? I have the star of it, Jazmine Faries.
Yep.
How you doing, Jazmine? And
Good.
I have her, and
Yeah.
I have her brother Chad, but also I have the director, producer on here also, Patrick Longstreth.
Hey,
and
everybody.
I want to say hello, everybody. Well, first of all, first question to you, Patrick. You made this documentary and you've been taking it around film festivals, and many of the film festivals that I've read, at least 3 of them, they really enjoyed your documentary. Why do you think they enjoyed this documentary?
I think this documentary appeals to a range of people who are interested in a lot of different things or have a lot of different things going on in their personal life or their family life. And so I think that's why audiences are enjoying it. And we deal with a lot of these somewhat serious topics with a touch of humor. And so people leave usually feeling a little happy, enlightened, and optimistic and motivated to go and do their own creative projects the same way they saw Jazmine and her family do their own, create their own art.
Yeah, that's true. I was just really surprised. Now, let me get to the star. Let me ask you a question, Jazz. And my question is this, is that, well, you love to write, you love the soap opera style of things, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Myself, okay. I'd say I am 35 years old now. I just turned 35, and since then I have lost a lot of pounds. Now I am I'm very healthy now, and I am doing way much better, in my life. I do like to dance, and I do like to sing, and I am also trying to have a good life partner as soon as I can, and for me, I'm living here, and I live in Michigan with my mother and my family, and I'm doing pretty well with my life. I'm, focusing on my dreams and doing this whole play and my play and my documentary, but for me, for me, I feel like I am exploring Power 9. And I'm really glad I'm doing that.
Oh, well, thanks. Now, also, you love the entertainment world, and in the documentary, you can't wait to get on stage to get your Academy Award. Let's hope Will Smith is not there. But anyway,
yeah.
You want to get your Academy Award. Now, why is the entertainment world so special to you?
Because well, to me, I feel like I want my voice to be heard. I want to have my opinion on things. I feel like I myself have been through what all the celebrities had, with their insecurities and they look like they don't wear makeup sometimes. They always pictures on themselves of their natural beauty, like I'm doing right now. Our hair's all messy and
you look good.
Yeah, but this is my natural beauty.
Yeah, that's great. You look good.
And that's what I can communicate through what the celebrities go through every single day. And for me, with my entertainment experience, I do know what they are doing. And, like on the news, they always say, this celebrity is going, they always say, oh, I saw this celebrity spotting in town. They are kissing, canoodling, walking around, walking their babies and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I want to, do that. I want to, report some of these people who is like going out and hit, the latest style, and I want to do
Sound like
that.
you want to be an entertainment reporter, huh?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's what I do a little bit myself. I do that some myself.
It kind of makes me feel like I'm accepted to that.
Yeah.
And also accepted to these celebrities because they are my life. Even though I have my own life, but even though I have my own life, I want to be accepted to their lives.
Yeah.
And so
when I want to find out what's going on with Hollywood, I check in with Jazz.
Oh yeah. I remember. I will tell you this question here. I remember when my family goes out and they have trivia nights. If they don't remember, and say, who is the father of Angelina Jolie? I said, John Voight.
And I interviewed him too, and I met him.
Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How did that go?
Oh, it went very well. Yeah, it went very well for a movie he did down here in Florida. He's a very nice guy to me. We didn't talk politics, but he's a very nice guy.
He stayed away from that.
Yeah, he is a wonderful man. He was in one movie with John Travolta. It was called Broken Arrow.
Yeah, I saw that movie.
And oh my God, he was the best villain ever.
Yeah, he was. He's a very good actor.
Oh
man, let me sorry. Let me talk to your brother Chad. Ask him a quick question. Now, Chad, this is your younger sister, and before she was born, you were the only child, and you went through your problems when you were a young teenager. But now you're a PhD professor. You teach at Savannah State University, and just a little bit. You and I share a whole lot, Chad, together. I used to be a college professor and a school teacher myself.
Nice.
And you're a writer also. Yeah. Now, have you talked to Jazz about writing first, putting something in a book and which you can help her with?
Mm-hmm. Well, we haven't actually talked about a book project, but we talk a lot about writing when we're editing her plays. Like one of the things I remember we talked a lot about was creating, conflict and tension. Because when she first started it, some of these plays were just like, everything was just really nice. And, but, I said, well, Jazmine, when you watch all these films that you like and the sitcoms and stuff like that, do you see any sort of structure? Is it just following somebody through a day in their life, or does something happen usually? And she's like, oh yeah, something happens. And I was like, yeah, you need some conflict, you need some things. And so I remember I had that conversation with her, and then she just took it to the extreme, really, to the point where in the episode or in the season, that we see in Iron Family, she has an affair with Mark Wahlberg and gets pregnant with his baby and all of that. I'm like, you got it. That's some problems there. So yeah, we talk about things like that. And then also, my background is also in poetry, and so I've encouraged her because she fills up journals all the time. We've done some cool little poetry projects and stuff like that, where we've created some stuff together. I'll write a couple lines, she'll write a couple of lines, and so yeah.
Also, as a young man growing up, and now you have your sister, and how was that for you? That now you have a younger sister to look after, to take care of, and to also help her to navigate around the world or about the world.
Yeah. Well, our relationship since the film, I think, has gotten a lot stronger because we've been spending more time together because of these things. She's come down to Savannah for some projects. We fly off to film festivals together and spend a lot of time together. And even in her journey to wellness that she's been talking about, she, shortly after the documentary, I realized that I could put her in a kayak, and she loved paddling. And so now she kayaks, we go for walks together. she's really good at like doing Zumba. She loves dancing. And so we have a lot of fun together and have a new, renewed relationship, you know, creatively and kind of like you said, some of these adventure things. I don't have to do a lot of taking care of her. She
No.
does it on her
Well,
own.
I'm not talking about, you know,
I know
physical things like that. More
Yeah, I know
things
you mean.
about how the world works and things like that.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
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 Because like I
Shout
said,
out because she's like, you know, she does it all herself.
oh,
Yes, I
that's
do.
good.
I want to
And
acknowledge that.
but to talk about what he said, I think we should write a book together. It'd be kind of fun to you know, to collaborate with that, and it'd be kind of good. But I want to mix it with poetry, but we can do it like, you know, like in like you know, no, do it like I think we can probably mix up some names and then instead from there
Yeah.
instead of
Yeah,
poetry.
yeah.
I got some ideas, Jasmine. We'll talk after. I got an
Yeah,
idea.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Patrick, I read in the bio that at first, when you went to Iron City to meet the family, you thought this was going to only be a maybe a 3-day shoot, maybe 15 minutes. But when you got there, you just found that just how engaging this family is. Tell us about that experience, Patrick, as a film director, as a documentary director.
Yeah, I'd say it all started with that first interview with Jazmine. You know, we met her and we were sitting there for about 5 minutes before she said, "Well, are you guys going to start rolling these cameras or what?" You know, because I'm giving you guys some cool sound bites and stories here, and you don't even have the camera going. So I was like, "Oh, okay, Jazz, yeah." So we right away started, you know, interviewed for about half an hour, and then I said, "All right, well, Jazz, let's hold off on some of this stuff because we're gonna get you set up in a different spot and with some better lighting on your next interview." So right away, I knew she was just ready to tell us her whole life story and include us in all of her plans. And so that was really exciting and really fun. And then, you know, on day 2, I think I got recruited to be in the play and star as John Travolta. So that kind of upped the level of my involvement. And
Yeah. I did tell you a good advice too, that I was listening to a song called Staying Alive, and that's part of a John Travolta movie. And I told Pat, so I think he could do the dance.
That's one of my favorite songs too. Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs.
Also, I have the edited version of A Family, but it's just for me. But also, I don't want to give too much away in the edited version, but let's just say we all got tattoos called the D Life of the play called the Double Life of my play, and I always have tattoos. My brother has a tattoo, and Pat does one too, but I don't want to say where. But you can see it on the deleted episodes. You can see the whole thing.
Right. So
On the DVD deleted scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a deleted scene of me also. Yeah, I also did express my commitment to this project by getting a tattoo.
Oh.
It's my first tattoo, and it's on my butt. And, and it doesn't say the D Life. It doesn't say Iron Family, but it's 2 little hearts, which actually
nice.
it's kind of, I think
like this, isn't it?
It's right there. That's Chad's got it. That's it. So
this is
nice.
Pat's butt also. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Right there behind Albert. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So when you see those hearts, you can think of my butt.
Oh, I don't want to think of your butt,
I got to touch it.
But anyway, so yeah, you can tell it's back to your original question, Albert. You know, there were just so many amazing details that we thought could fill a 90-minute film, you know, with all of their other family members and the whole history of Iron River. And I just knew it wasn't going to fit into a short film. So we we kept at it until we ended up with a feature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Chad, let me ask you a question about your mother, Kate. In fact, my mother's name was Kate also. So
nice.
I related to that. Yeah, her name was Kate, or still is Kate. I mean, she's not here anymore, but her name was Kate. Now, your mother, she also had her struggles too, but, as a young man too, how did you view that to see your mother going through all those struggles in her life, but you went through your struggle early in your life and you overcame a lot of your bad habits, and now later on you see your mother going through that? How did that affect you?
Well, read the book. No, I mean, I did write a memoir, about the first 10 years of my life, and explored a lot of that from an adult's perspective, reflecting back to his, how he felt as a child. So yeah, I mean, it's a difficult question. One thing that I'll say is that I have grown a lot, as far as being able to accept certain things and accept people, for who they are. Like, just because I got my shit together, more or less, or my myself together, I still have a lot of shortcomings that I have to deal with all the time.
Oh, sure, we all do. Yeah.
And so, I've and my mom continues to work on herself and so on. But I think that we all, Pat often talks about one of the things that he's impressed with when he was filming us is that we have this ability to kind of bounce back after an argument, right? I mean, my mother and I disagree on things like weekly, but then we come together and we see Jazmine. But then we come back together and we all, ultimately love conquers all. I mean, it's kind of cliche, but in our family, it's sort of true. There's just a level of acceptance that supersedes everything else. And so nice to have, because I know that, some families, I'm always surprised, like they have people who kind of disown other people, or they're like, oh, I haven't talked to my brother for 8 years or something like that. And that just doesn't happen in our family. It'll happen for a short period of time, but then we know that we have to ultimately come together and, love one.
Yeah, I like that. Go ahead, Patrick.
Oh, I was just going to say, Chad, I think Jazmine might be part of that too.
Yeah.
So Jazz, you the glue that keep your family together, huh?
Sure.
Yes, I do. Yes. I take after my grandma.
I saw that in this film. I said, wow, here's this young lady. She really keeps her family laughing and puts smiles on their faces. Sure, they have some disagreements, but next thing you know, you turn it around, they got smiles on their face after a disagreement. You really do that to your family. I saw that. I really did.
Thank you. Yes, yeah. Ever since I was like little, I always like in this documentary, like my auntie Faith told me that I never cried. I never did anything whatsoever in my life, but I do try to hide my tears so that way my family won't notice how I would express how I felt, but I always had to keep it together because I don't want them to fall apart and keep the peace. And I am the reason why my family is together. So even though we lost a matriarch even though I lost my grandma, Bridget Hicks, who was the glue in the family, and I guess that did kind of pass down to me because I was the one who, I don't know what happened, but me and my grandmas had a good relationship all my life since I was growing up and when I was a baby, and she saw something in me that's really wonderful and beautiful, and I thought, and my grandma thought, wow, how could I let this how could I love this wonderful grandbaby that I love, and who I'm going to pass down all my good traits down. And so she did. She gave me all these wonderful traits that she had, and if my family gets out of line, I could step in and take control of it. I would be the center of it. I can do what I did, what my grams did, and with that, we always have get-togethers and celebrations and birthdays, and I am the one who kept all my family together and put their head straight. And I'm the one in my life, my family, I'm the peacemaker. And if somebody, as soon as that, I get really, really angry, and I have to control it, because if I don't, and all my family can see that and say, "Oh my God, Jazz, lost all her sisters down, and I be the one who's vulnerable. I can't count on someone who's gonna have my back."
Right.
But I always have to hide it so I can have my family be all together. I had to be the big one in this whole family. I've been doing that for all these years, and it's kind of
I heard one of your aunts. Yeah, I heard one of your aunts say that how you bring so much joy to them, and how you bring smiles on their faces, and that's why they were there to help you with the play and things like that. Now, you couldn't get my aunts to do anything like that in our family. That's what I was surprised at that. I said, "Wow, this is really a family thing." Patrick,
my aunt, who's in the film at the end of the film, that was my Auntie Faries, who had passed. She had cancer, and I was really close to her, and she was like a second mother to me. And I lived on, she used to live at the river, and I stayed there since my childhood, and I loved her. And every time I come over there or I go to Crystal Falls, whatever, I'm there, and every time I go there, it brings a smile to her face, and she loved me.
Wow.
And I see that. I have pictures of my aunties, and it kind of, to me, it felt like an honor to have her in my life, and seeing those pictures back, it hurts my heart, because I know that she's not longer with me, and it hurts so much that I lost a wonderful aunt. It was her.
Oh, well, my condolence to you. Now, Patrick, let me ask you. Let me say this to you. Now, when you and Chad gave the history of this town, that it used to be a mining town and things like that, and he took you around to the different places, did you have a history of this town before you got there? And were you surprised of the history of Iron City? At least I was, because I didn't realize that they had that mining history behind it. Because I'm from Chicago originally, and my father worked at steel mills. I worked at the steel mills. I worked for the auto plant at one time and things like that. But I didn't know that they had this history of being a mining town.
Yeah, I didn't know about it before we got there, but I quickly became fascinated by it. And it really has affected the landscape there. As you see in the film, they have these big mining towers that, were above the mining holes. Chad, are those called quarries? I forgot the names.
Frames and the shafts. Yeah.
What's that?
The mining shafts and the head frames are what you're talking about.
Yeah, I saw that.
Frames,
wow.
Yeah.
Head frames.
And so those have been there for decades, and they're all rusted out. But as far as I know, there's no plan to take them down. So they just kind of, overshadow the whole town. I mean, there's no buildings taller than those things anywhere in town. And they just kind of still sit there. But they're very beautiful to look at in a way too. And they remind you of what the town was like at one point. And so, yeah, the town, I think, is about 5 times smaller than it was at its peak. Yeah. And so there's a lot of, buildings that have been repurposed from their original purpose, like the high school is now a community center because there's not enough kids to fill that high school. And, and so, you know, it's just amazing to see the way that industry affected the landscape, the way it affected the culture there. And you know, there, you know, it's another interesting detail is that iron is still in the ground there. They didn't run out of iron. It just became cheaper to mine in China and other parts of the world.
Yeah.
So one day they thought they were going to keep mining, and then they just stopped mining because it wasn't profitable anymore.
Yeah,
so that affected a lot of people. And also it's so cold there most of the year. I just couldn't believe that people would spend most of their year climbing underground when it was that cold outside. And, you know, but people just like all over this country, you know, traveled where the opportunity was, whether, you know, just like the gold rush up in Alaska, you know, people went to Iron River and made a home there. And so it's just interesting to see how it's affected our whole landscape all around the country. Things like iron mining.
Yeah, and Chad, you're very fortunate to be the first one in your family to have an education. But there in that city now, they are bogged down with a lot of drugs there, and it's only about 10,000 people there. Do you want your family to still stay there?
Yeah. 10,000 people in the whole county. There's about 2,000 in Iron River. So, well, you know, do I want my family to still stay there? I have some family that's doing really well there. You know, my cousins are all doing well and have. I'm the oldest of all the cousins, and I chose to leave, but they stayed. Some of them went off to college. My cousin's wife is the principal of the whole school system in the neighboring town of Crystal Falls. They're doing really well, and they're raising 3 boys. And so, you know, in some ways, I think even though it's economically depressed, if you have a decent position there, like working in a school or there's a handful of factories and stuff, you can have a good life. You know, the outdoors are really wonderful there. And, you know, there's something about knowing your neighbors and being part of a small town. So, yeah, listen, if they're happy, then they should stay and make most of their life. Yeah.
I agree with you. Well, I want to thank you all.
It'll always be a part of my life and Jazmine's life, you know, regardless of where we end up. Iron River is always going to be central. I go spend every summer there. I'll be there in a week. Yeah.
All right. Well, I ran out of time. Unfortunately, I can do this for another half hour. But I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Patrick. I want to thank you, Chad. And I want to thank you, Jazz. And people, please see the documentary Iron Family whenever you can. It's very, very good, and it'll really touch your heart. Thank you for spending time with me, Al McGee. I really appreciate it. Much success to you, Jazz, and you too, Chad and Patrick. Thank you.
This is your answer.